I would like to welcome you all to our Small Business Development Practitioner Webinar series that is a partnership between SEDA, IBASA, and EPI. Our topic today is guiding your small business client to be fundable. So as business practitioners, we need to guide our small business clients to be fundable. And it is great. I'm excited that our speaker today is Don Mashele. He is the head of the business development at Small Enterprise Finance Agency. And what's amazing is that he has a lot of financial background, and he also has board experience in the SMME development. So with all of that experience, it's so exciting to see that it comes in, and he's going to share his insight with us as a member of the head of SEFA. And it's really exciting that we get to do that. Please feel free at any point to ask questions in the Q&A once again, and share comments in the chat. And anything that's insightful, feel free to use your reaction button of the wow reaction if he says something that's insightful. If you agree, use your thumbs up and clap your hand. On that note, Mr. Mashele, over to you. I love your scarf. I just want you to know.
It has become more relevant, particularly for today.
And over to you, Mr. Don. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sister. Once more, good morning, everybody. I'll start my sharing my presentation, and then you can confirm once you can see that.
Correct, we will do. And it's there, and then now you're just gonna do the full view. Perfect, thank you. Perfect.
No, once again, thank you for this opportunity, and thanks to SEDA, to IBASA, EPI, for this platform to share with you colleagues what we call a common funding template. And we're calling this a common funding template because when you look at the topic, it's saying how to improve the success rate really of your businesses or the clients that you assist when they want to raise funding from the lenders. So when you look at this common funding template, which I will be sharing, it's a document that we developed a while back. Some of you colleagues are probably familiar with it, but what we would like to achieve is to ensure that we increase the success rate of those businesses that apply for funding, not only at SEFA, by the way, because this common funding template, when we put it together, we consulted with all the DFIs, IDC, NEF, NYDA, and we consulted also with certain banks, SEDA and SEFA. The whole idea is to ensure that we increase, like I say, and emphasize the success rate when you submit applications to lenders. Now, when you look at what is coming, SEDA and SEFA will be merging. I'm sure it's public knowledge by now. So this document becomes even much more crucial and important. Just yesterday, we're looking at a report that was generated by SEDA looking at the success rate or the conversion rate of applications that get submitted by SEDA to SEFA. You'll be surprised to know that less than 10% of applications get approved or get successful. So that effort is actually going to waste. So when you look at what I'll be presenting here is trying to then say, what are the things that you're looking for as SEFA and other lenders when we assess applications. So colleagues, this is a working document. Inputs are always welcome. We'll take questions at the end, clarify certain things. but of critical importance is a consultative process also to then say, advise us if you feel that we need to improve this document one way or the other. So that is the flow of the presentation. And we deliberately don't call this a business plan because it is not a business plan, it's a funding template. Because a business plan is broader than that. You know, if you're running a business, putting together a business plan, you look at all aspects of your business, but this is actually narrowing down the issues. These are the issues that you know, but narrowing down the issues that says what are the things that you look for as lenders. So we'll cover that from company information, the shareholder information, the structure of the company, the operations of the business, the products and services that the businesses offer, the market and the industry analysis. We'll cover the target market, the marketing strategy. We'll also cover the sales strategy, the competitive environment, the location of the business, external environment, the funding requirements, the financial model, banking information, supply information, the staffing, compliance environment. Last but not least, we'll conclude by covering the SWOT analysis. So, like I said, colleagues, that these are the things that you know, is actually putting them now in context. So when you develop that common funding template as a document, the first thing that you need to cover, you need to tell us as lenders, is information about that particular company. So the company here, we're talking about a legal entity, CIPC registered company. One of the things that we would like to know, that is the list for you. We'll just go line by line, really. I know it might be a bit tedious, but just to emphasize the point to make sure that we're all focused and look at this type of things. So when you look at that section, you need to tell us about the registered name of the company, the registration number, the trading name, the date the company was registered, because that is important. It tells you or tells us as lenders for how long has the business been in operation, and the SARS credentials. Businesses, in terms of compliance, we expect that businesses that we support has to be SARS registered, the VAT number, the tax clearance certificate, the certificate which has to be valid and not expired, income tax number, the UIF registration number. Again, that also is something that is very crucial for us to know. The physical address of the business, because that is the location of the business that will be applying for funding, the postal address, the social media platforms. All the social media platforms, we'd like to know about that, because when you do your desktop due diligence, one of the things that you do check this kind of things. You check the website, for instance, check the Facebook, and also things like your X platform, Instagram. We expect that. So that is what you need to cover under company information. The second part is remember that when you talk about companies now, you might find that you've got a company that has got more than one shareholder, or a company has got a dedicated contact person. We would like to know that information, because that will be the relationship person between SEFA and the applicant company. So the contact person is about the full name, the telephone number, sales number, and the email address. Very basic stuff, but very crucial for our deal makers to know. The second part is on the shareholder information or the member information if it's a close corporation. So in this instance here, if you've got a company that has got more than one shareholders, obviously you'll have to complete this and duplicate it depending on the number of shareholders. So the first thing that you need to tell us, the full names, the percentage shareholding that particular shareholder holds in the business, the gender, the ID number, because remember, we'll be doing some assessment of sorts, the credit checks and the like on each shareholder, the number of years in business. So here we're talking about that particular shareholder. You might find that the number of years a business has been operating as a company and the number of shares that that shareholder has been in business may not be the same. You know, you may find that you have been running a business for more years, and then the company that you want to apply for will be running a business for different types of years. So let's not confuse that. Here we're talking about a shareholder or a member. The other things that we look for, the net asset value as per the personal balance sheet. So for each and every shareholder, we expect to be provided with your personal balance sheet, because that in itself tells us about the type of person you are. The income and expenditure for each shareholder or each member, again, this tells us the lifestyle of that particular shareholder. So in addition to a balance sheet, we also expect to know about the personal income and expenditure qualifications. Depending on the kind of business, certain type of businesses, the qualification has to link with the kind of business, the business that you'll be running. The relevant experience in the business to be funded, the designation in the business to be funded, whether that shareholder is a director or maybe they're just a shareholder and not playing a part in the business. The credit bureau record, marital status and the type of marriage or contract that you've got, the physical address, if a shareholder has got any disability, investment in the business to be funded. This is very important as well. So if someone is a shareholder, a director, or a member in a company, they are investing, they've got certain investment, cash investment, we need to know about that. It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't mean that we'll use this as a reason to reject or approve an application. But what it does say, it tells us exactly shareholders, how much have they invested in a particular business that they want us to support. And then shareholding in other entities, some of the clients that we support, you find that they've got shares in other businesses. So you need to get those cross kind of shareholding so that you understand and have a bigger picture. So that is that on the shareholding structure. Like I said before, and I'll keep emphasizing this, that this is the information that you probably know, but we just say here, how do you put it into one document and become nice and crisp and nice and be able to be relevant in terms of the things that we require as a lender. Now, deeper now into the company itself, we need to know about the structure of that company. Depending on the type of business, we need to have an organogram, because once the business become more complicated in terms of its operations, you'll probably need to have an organogram. And the organogram must also show us the key personnel and their qualifications, because remember again, that particular organogram, when you have got that and you've got key people in that, the key personnel that you're talking about here, their contribution contribute towards the success of that particular business. So an organogram is it's very much important once your business become a bit complex. The second part, we need to be told about the business operations. Here we're talking about outlining the key operations of the business. The production process, probably it's a manufacturing business, or if it's a retail business, we need to know exactly how the whole thing works. Again, it might be useful to also put the layout of the factory of the building where it's applicable. Remember, when someone makes an application or submits an application, the deal makers, all they are looking for, all the first document that they come across with will be this document. So once going through that document, before they go out and do physical due diligence, they need to have a picture of how that business looks like. So the structure of the business organogram and the business operations in terms of sketch, if it's a factory, whatever layout you may want to present, that becomes very important. The other one are the products and services, because a business exists to solve problems. So you're solving problems by providing certain products and services. So here we're saying that once you have got your clients in this instance, the products and services that they offer to the target market has to be very clear what kind of products and services are being offered. The other part is to understand the industry. And when you talk about the market or industry analysis, we don't want to keep it theoretical. It needs to be practical. To then say, when you talk about these macroeconomic factors, how are they relevant in terms of the business that must be supported or that is looking for a loan? So we need to understand that industry. If it's a retailing industry, we need to understand that part of an industry. If it's a manufacturing or if it's in mining, whatever the industry is that the applicant want us to support, we need some analysis of that. Again, I need to emphasize that analysis, it cannot be just information that is Googled and you just put that in a document. It needs to relate to the application. How does it become relevant in terms of the business that is applying for funding? The target market links somewhat to the products and services, because a business, like I was, to solve problems for its target market or customers. So who is the target market? That again needs to be spelled out in detail in terms of the living standard measures, as it were. So we need to understand that, because one of the things is that once you have got your target market and it's very, very specific, that's where a business exists to make money. You exist to generate turnover from the particular target market. So the understanding of those LSM, the living standard measures, tells us that if you are selling a particular product or offering a particular service, do people or customers have money or the ability to support that kind of a business? And again, the target market, why will that target market, come to the clients that want to assist as businesses as opposed to competition? So the target market is very, very key and very important. The other one, I'm sure this is known, the marketing strategy, the 4 P's of marketing. In fact, last week I was attended one session where one guy was asking the question that who still use the 4 P's of marketing? I know we've got 6 P's now. Like I said, this is a document that we need to enhance as we go along. So, but when it was developed, the one that we have on our website is still talking about the 4 P's of marketing. But then enhancement is becoming crucial now, because you've got 6 P's now, which talk about people, we talk about presentation as well. So but I'm presenting what is on our website, but the announcement will happen, because I've got this last week Friday. Somebody says, no, we're using more than 4 P's today. So those are the things, the marketing strategy, the product, place, price, and promotion. I won't go into detail, you guys know about this, but I'm saying it's very important. We need to know about that when you assist customers or SMEs to apply for funding. And then the sales strategy. So when you look at that, the sales strategy, we're looking at things like how are the projected sales looking like? Remember, when someone applies for funding, we look at the future and see for it as an ender for that matter. So there's issues of projected turnover. So if we're saying that you are applying for funding and your loan repayment will be over 5 years, so you need to give us projections for 5 years, and the projections that we look at have to be motivated in detail. So the sales strategy actually tells us that if a business or someone applying saying that per month I'll generate a revenue of 100,000, how is that going to happen? You know, and then in this section here, the motivation of that turnover comes more relevant. So what does the projected turnover look like? The assumptions that are used to project turnover, that's very crucial. So it cannot be a thumbs up kind of an approach where you say that our client's going to be generating 100,000. How is that going to be? Some of the businesses, if it's business to business kind of transactions, becomes easier because some of our clients, you might find that they've got off-take agreements or valid letters of intent. That becomes easier because you can link your projections to those contracts, off-takes or valid letters of intent. In businesses where you don't have that, you know, the market research becomes very crucial. You know, if you are not selling business to businesses, business to consumer, market research becomes very, very much important. So that section there, it's actually where the cookie can crumble. Because if you don't project turnover and motivate it nicely there, you know, that's where the affordability or the sustainability of a business becomes that strong pillar. So the sales strategy very much important. We need that. The other part is the competitive environment. So clients that we assist, they actually need to know their competitors. You know, there is no business that is a monopoly. So each and every business has got competition. And I'm sure at some point when we were growing up, Eskom was a monopoly, but not anymore. You know, we've got alternative forms of energy now. So competition, we need to assist in terms of analyze the competition. What is the competitive edge of a business? And the competitive edge has to be sustainable. You know, it cannot be a competitive edge that says, I'll be cheaper than my competition, as an example. You know, someone can come and undercut you before you know it, you've lost your edge. So we do check that competition, and if we believe that it's a highly competitive market, you know, that can affect the business, because some of the businesses that apply for funding might find that the market already is saturated. You know, how is that thing going to be different? The other one is the barriers to entry. You know, the more barriers to entry, the better maybe for you as for the clients that we help as business people, because it means to enter that market might be a bit difficult. So someone who's already there has gone through those barriers, you know, you minimize competition somewhat. But where there are no barriers to entry, competition becomes big, and that kind of a business or industry can easily become saturated. The next slide, we're talking here about the location. You know, as sometimes people will say that there are three important things in business, and that's location, location, and location. And location is crucial for certain types of businesses. But for certain businesses, location may not be that strategic or crucial. And I think COVID has taught us that as well. You know, there are certain things that we thought that location is very much important. People started working from home, started doing online businesses. Then we realized, you know, post-COVID, that actually I don't have to have a shop. I don't have to have an office block. I can do certain things. So but there are certain businesses where location still becomes crucial. So here we do check that kind of a thing, the description of the location, and also to check issues around the lease agreement, if you have to have that kind of a lease agreement. And we also check that it must have availability to bulk services like water, electricity, roads, infrastructure, and so on. And also it's important to check the municipal plans that will affect the location of the business. You know, when you locate a business, I'll give you a practical example. Let's say, for instance, you're looking at the filling station. It's important to understand the plans of the municipality and understand what is coming. You know, because if you don't understand that, you might find that you've got a good road network that fits into your business. Before you know it, they just build a barrier or an island in that access road. Then you will miss or lose part of the market that you had when you started that kind of a business. So certain things you need to understand is that what are the plans? How are the future plans going to affect the location of that kind of a business? In franchising, we also need to know if some of the clients were helping someone is starting a franchise or buying a franchise. Franchises go through revamps. You know, you buy a franchise and we assist people to do that, only to find that 3 or 4 years down the line, there must be a revamp that is done. That affects that business because that business can easily close down for the period when it's been revamped. I mean, I'm sure you might have seen this new brand that came to the market that took over Caltech's garages. You know, the Altron, is it Altron now? You know, some of the stations had to close down. You know, some did the revamps whilst they're still operating. So those are some of the issues that we need to be aware of when helping our client to put this funding proposals. The other one, this is more like an external environment, your personal environment, political, the economic environment, the sociological environment, technological, legal, and environmental issues. So here, again, what is important is that when you talk about the political environment, for instance, you know, we just cannot generalize. We need to understand that, I mean, if it's local politics or international politics, how does that environment affect this kind of business in a practical sense? So when you do the scanning of the external environment, it cannot be a generic thing that we cover here. It needs to be very, very specific. The economic environment as well, sociological, technological, and environmental complex issues. So we want to know about this, but I'm emphasizing a point that it needs to be relevant. You need to be able to draw the line to say, how does this external environment affect the business that I'm assisting to putting together a funding proposal? We are now swiftly moving towards the end. The funding requirements, like I said, this is not a business plan, it's a funding template, it's a pitching document, as it were. So we also need to know the requirements. What is the amount of loan that is being applied for, and then the usage of that particular loan in terms of breakdown. So if you're looking for someone looking for 15 million, how is the money going to be used? You know, that becomes very much important. The other part is the financial model. The financial model here, we're talking, if it's an existing business, part of the financial model will be the actual financial records, the actual financial statements. If it's an existing business, we need to know about that. The past 3 years, if we can go even more papers than that, you know, the better. But at least on average, the last 3 years financial statements because when you build up into your projections, if for an existing business, it's easier if someone can build up from the actual financial trading statements in terms of your projections, then it becomes easier to motivate that the previous financial year, this is how much I've been doing, and now in terms of projections, these are the projections. It becomes easier to motivate that. Obviously, if it's a startup business, that doesn't exist. There will be no annual financial statements. So the financial model for a startup business will only start with the financial projections. So projections, again, as I was saying, that it cannot be like a thumbs up thing. It needs to be well motivated, whether turnover projections or expenses, because remember, projections, it's both lines. You project for turnover in terms of revenue and also project for expenses. And again, well-motivated projections, it cannot be a thumbs up. It needs to be backed by strong motivation. We also would like to see the key financial ratios. We do have ratios, your profitability ratios, the various classes of this type of ratios. And here, because we are providing loans, we need to be convinced that it's going to be a profitable business. It's a business that can afford a loan. So that's why we need to know about those ratios. The second class of ratios will be your borrowing, your gearing ratio, to just check really, is this business not overly borrowed? You're coming to SEFA, you're looking for 10 million rands, you already owe a bank, another bank, this amount. It's good to run a business or assist our guys to run a business that is not overly geared, overly borrowed. And then the liquidity ratios in terms of solvency, to make sure that when we support a business, we are not supporting a business that is insolvent. So these ratios are very much important. We would like to know about them. But what is also crucial when it comes to ratios is the issue of benchmarking with industry standards. So it's not just giving ratios in isolation. It's important to benchmark. For instance, if you're looking at what example can I give? You're looking at your gross margin, your gross profit percentage. It must be in line with whatever is happening in the industry. So the benchmarking becomes very much important when we capture these ratios. The other section of the common funding template will be the banking information. Most of the clients that we assist will have some form of some banking facilities with certain banks. Now we need to know the name of the bank, the facility that exists there, whether it's an overdraft, term loan, mortgage, whatever the case is, and then the security, if there's any security that has been offered to the bank. This gives us as a lender a holistic view in terms of who are the other creditors or that the business is exposed to. Now, the other part is about suppliers, because the sustainability of any kind of business is informed, amongst other things, by the suppliers. If your suppliers are not a sustainable kind of suppliers, as it were, that affects the businesses that we support. So we need to know the list of key suppliers, the type of accounts that these suppliers, our clients have with the suppliers, the status of the credit accounts, if any, if they're paying them on time, etc. And then the proximity of suppliers to the location of these businesses. Remember, I said earlier that one of the most important things in business is the location. It's location not only in terms of accessibility to customers, but also accessibility to suppliers. The road networks, rail network, whatever the case is, that becomes very crucial. So we do check that. the suppliers. And again, some of the things that we do when we approve loans or offer loans to our clients, they need to buy certain things, whether it's stock or whatever the case is. You know, there are certain things that we don't give cash to them. We give cash to the suppliers, whoever the supplier will be. So it's very much important to do some high-level due diligence on the supplier or suppliers as well. The staffing, the employees that are working for this kind of business, very important to know. So here we want to also know the breakdown between permanent and part-time staff, the cost to company breakdown. Remember, this affects the projections in terms of your salary bill. So that becomes very important. Ensure that the clients that you assist, you know, they are compliant in terms of minimum wage. And then we also need to know the staff that has been unionized. I mean, that is unionized, because well, that affects when it comes to, you know, the period where it's a bargaining period, as it were. We need to align and be able to know that if, for instance, for this particular financial year, our clients have said my salary bill is going to be X, and then you know that in that industry, you know, it's a unionized industry. Each year, for instance, you need to factor in, say, a certain percentage of increment, whether it's inflation plus whatever the case is. So that actually is something that you need to take into consideration. And then any form of guidelines in terms of the industry when it comes to wages and salary, the union, I mean, the minimum wage, those kind of things. So the last slide, we talking here about the compliance environment. Depending on the nature of business, depending on the nature of the industry, we do check that compliance environment. If the businesses that we support, we need to make sure that they are compliant in terms of any form of legislation that exists and that is relevant out there. Health and safety, municipal bylaws, very much important. I'm sure we can see what is happening now in most township businesses in terms of health regulations, what is happening on the sponsorship industry, for instance. You know, we need to ensure that whatever we support or provide funding to, those businesses are compliant in terms of bylaws, SAF, labor laws, or any other industry law. Certain businesses, it's not about the regulation as stipulated by government. It could be regulation for that particular industry. So we do check those kind of things. And then the last part of the common funding template is the SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this is the last slide, but I think what the purpose of this presentation was to say, when you apply, I mean, when you assist businesses to apply for funding, what documents do we need? Not document, but how does that funding proposal look like? You know, so this is a document. It's very narrowed down. It doesn't cover what we normally get in terms of broad business plans, because if you do that, you know, there are so many templates of the nature of business plans that exist out there. So we just narrowed it down to say these are the things that we need. If we assist SMMEs to complete documents in this fashion, the chances really of success it's greatly improved. So yeah, no, thank you very much, and I'll hand back to you, Tobeka. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Don, for your time and sharing those insights. And it's really, I have two questions I would like to put, and then to get us started, and then we'll see what else is coming up. But you started off with an amazing stat of 10% become successful, if I understood that correctly, right? what happened to the 90? Where are we missing it at the 90? Why is the 90% not making it? Where are we messing up, number one? And then number two, that when you were talking around the industry ratio of that was the financial part. So I have a question to that, because the industry ratio can talk to, as small businesses, our ratio is very different. If now we are being put up against industry ratio, if majority of the businesses have been running and have a bigger track record, there's something around that for me doesn't sit well. Yes, I know it is what it is, but now I'm wondering, why is it that? Because now you're wanting me as a small business, comparing me to a small business that has been around for decades and have a track record. So how do we balance that in the current environment? Yeah, so those were my main two questions for now. And then I'll hand over to Christoph if he has anything. Over to you, Bhutan.
Okay, now let me start with it. I think the 90%, what happens to those businesses? It's better now because they came through SEDA. Remember, SEDA provides business development support. So if we say no to a business and give reasons, the structure that we have as a portfolio is that SEDA needs to assist those businesses, and then they're able to come back. So you give them reasons to say, why did you not approve the business, etc., etc. If it's something that can be mitigated, and then SEDA will assist and they come back. But to give a general what we have seen in terms of why not only SEFA, why lenders don't approve businesses, it's a question of sustainability when it comes to a particular industry. So when you look at, because the issue of experience, okay, one could be experience. It's one factor. If you cannot mitigate experience through mentorship or franchising, as an example, it could be one reason to say no. You cannot go into a business that you don't understand. So the issue of experience is one part. I want to start a business in a particular sector. I've never done that before. Obviously, it's risky. You need to then tell us how we're going to mitigate that. Like I said, if there's mentorship, it's one part. If it's franchising, it's another. So experience is very key. So that's one reason. The other one, it's an issue of sustainability. You cannot afford the loan, because there is a ratio that we calculate the interest cover to say that each and every business, when you apply for funding, at least you must be able to cover your interest by 1.5. If, for instance, your interest rate is the interest amount that you must repay is 100 rands. You must at least have 150 to cover that part. So if we run the numbers, you realize that in terms of your projections, you cannot even afford to pay for that interest. Then you can't even afford a loan. So the issue of financial sustainability is the other one. The main one, again, will be when you go and enter a particular industry, you need to be convincing that particular business will be sustainable. Like I said, remember I was saying, there is no business that is a monopoly. Each and every business has got competition. So when we look at that and saying that with this amount of competition, with this amount of saturation in the market, we don't believe that this business can be able to be there for the next 5 years if the long duration is 5 years. So it's a variety of reasons that can be categorized in those categories. I think the next part of your question, when I'm saying that you need to compare with industry norms, I'm not talking about industry being big industry, broad industry. What I'm saying, let's take, for instance, a fast food business. So if you're in a fast food business, and then your markup is, depending on what you're selling, your markup, I'm saying, is 50%. You're selling chicken and your markup is 50%. So I'm saying that you cannot mark up at 70% if the industry is marking up at 50%. So you can't do that. So that's the industry norms that you're talking about. So you also cannot be too cheap, because if you're too cheap, again, there's something wrong in your formula. You probably won't be able to meet certain overheads, because your market or the industry says, for you to be able to sustain yourself in this business, your markup should be that. So there is that general markup percentage per industry. So that's what you're talking about. Retail, for instance. So yeah, I can say a thumbs up there. Let me just stop there in terms of responding.
No. Awesome. No, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know if Christoph or Sibongi has any thoughts or some things that have come up from some of the questions. And if we want to go deeper a little more in the responses from Don from those two questions. Christoph, I see you unmuted. Over to you.
There's some interesting questions from attendees too, and I encourage everyone to put in your questions. It is your chance now to get good answers on issues that you may be wondering about. My question, Don, is around using this as a common template, a shared template amongst the various government-aligned institutions. Can you perhaps explain a bit more how that's working? So if one works with a client that wants to apply for funding, do you have to then use the template and approach each of the institutions separately? Or is there a way that the institutions are sharing information to find the best suited, the best aligned to the product that's best aligned to the business amongst yourselves? Sort of NEF, SEFA, and I know all the institutions, IDC, that are aligned to using that template, the common template. But then there are also some questions we can come to and maybe bring in some voices into the room from the text chat, or from the Q&A. Just Marat, Tabisili, and so on, they're asking about the recording. Yes, the recording is available on the EPI's YouTube channel. It's also available on the BASA website a bit later on. So we'll share that towards the end of the event, so that if you want to look back and put in reverse gear to go remind yourself about what was said earlier, you can also do so. Or someone said, it was an anonymous person saying their connection isn't so great and they couldn't hear everything. Yeah. That recording will be available. So just to confirm that. But then there are some other questions there too that we can perhaps address.
Yeah, just one. You asking Chris if you can use this template. Do we share information? No, we don't. So this template is a guide. It's a guideline document. You might find that when you go, for instance, to NEF as an example, it doesn't have to follow line by line the manner in which I was saying, but at least it forms a foundation. It forms a guide. You may have to tweak it here and there. But what we have done, we have consulted with all the DFIs, some banks, one or two banks, but there will be some slight variations. It doesn't mean that it has to be like this and that's it. But what we are avoiding here is that, because the experience has been that when you say, give us a business plan, people just go and Google a business plan and then you get a 101 page document of a business plan, and you only use 30% of that. So we are saying that with this template, at least we can use 99%, but there'll be slight variations here when I go to IDC and the for CPD. It's not going to be the same thing. We don't even share the information.
So if I may follow on, Don, if I have a client, what is my best strategy then to align the needs of that small business client with the products that's on offering from all the range of institutions, including SEFA and the other institutions? What would your advice be for a business advisor when they have a client, they understand their funding needs, and now they need to guide them in approaching the best suited or find the best suited finance product for them?
Yeah, my suggestion would be if you use this base document that I've just presented, because remember, it all depends on what is it that you're applying for. What is that is the first thing. I know, for instance, certain programs within IDC, they don't even need a business plan. They don't even need this template, for instance. But if it's something where you're saying, okay, now I can see what you're offering as a DFI, and you also need okay, let's use a business plan interchangeably so that we don't get confused. So you say to someone, okay, give me a business plan. Where a requirement is for a business plan, then the structure or the framework of that business plan needs to follow this template. Because certain programs don't need that. For instance, we've got a program for township, the TRAP program, Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program. There we don't even need a business plan. We don't even need this template because it's a simple program that we have. All we need is a company profile. So all I'm saying that when you approach a lender, and then the lender will say, okay, now we hear you, but just draft your business plan. Now you ask yourself, how must that business plan look like? Because that will be the next question. What are the things that you look for? Then your default position will be this template, because you know that we've consulted with all DFIs, some banks. You'll be covering 90% of what that particular lender will be looking for.
Perfect. There's a specific question on TREP.
Yes.
What if the business is only operating for 6 months and want to apply for TREP? Would the business still require annual financial statements?
Now 6 months and a year. Last time I checked, it's 12 months. So if it's 6 months, give us those management accounts for 6 months. That's all. Remember, TREP were not that strict in terms of financial statements. So TREP is a simple program. We don't even need this template as I indicated. So if it's only existing for 6 months, the management accounts for 6 months is good. They're good enough. We won't need you to have operated for a full year. But I must also say, before we field other questions, which we will, I'm happy to do. It doesn't have to be here. Maybe through a separate channel to say what are the improvement areas of that document, because this for us it becomes a consultative process to improve the document. So if we've got those inputs, like I said last week Friday, I met somebody who said, no, guys, we've got 6 P's now, very important. So there could be someone who doesn't have a question, but input to make in a document. Would appreciate that as well.
Okay, just a follow up through you, Thobeka. Just a follow up, Don. You mentioned that for the TREP, you only need a company profile. So the question is there a template for the company profile that is needed?
No, remember, company profile is a simple thing.
Yeah.
Company profile, we don't even require a template. You can just use any generic template. In fact, most of the businesses that we assist through TREP and require company profiles, still I get to help them with those company profiles. So there is no template really. You can Google a company profile. Remember, that's a simple document. it won't get complicated. So there's no templates for a company profile. Any template will actually be good.
Great, thank you. You have another question, Sisbongi? No, you just muted. Okay, Christoph, you had shared some of this stuff. Okay, so Rick asks, so I'm just going down the list. What reserves does SEFA have? What is the quantum of loans that SEFA can support?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I get the question. Understand? Maybe you can clarify that, maybe unpack it. What reserves do we have? What quantum of loans? I'm not so sure I understand the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I can assume, but unless Rick is fine to come through to elaborate, but I don't want to assume my understanding unless you know what he's trying to say, Christoph. My assumption would be like what's the size? But here's Rick. He can talk for himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, Rebecca, but I don't want to make that assumption. But yeah, Rick,
over to you, But you can talk now. Okay. We have unmuted you. Okay, he might be having a audio problem. Do you know, Chris? Let's see if he's...
No, it's not working, but I think that is exactly, I also read the same, you know, sort of,
okay.
What is the capital, what capital base does SEFA work from? You know?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, thanks. So if that is the question, our threshold is 15 million. You know, so the maximum threshold that we can offer for the programs is 15 million, and the minimum is 50,000 rands on the general programs, but on TRAP, for the township one, the maximum it's 1 million rands, and we don't have a minimum really on TRAP. So I hope, Rick, that's what you're asking. If not, I'm sure at some point you can come in.
I think Rick is also referring to the, I'm not sure if your different funds are capitalized differently as funds or whether there's a total SEFA capital base that it works from. You know, sort of what is the total size of SETA's loan book?
It's the loan book or balance sheet?
I think it's, well, I read in him, so I'm not sure how SEFA works, but perhaps the question is, do you get an annual allocation of capital to disperse, or how is SEFA funded?
Yeah, I can give a principal answer. We are funded through DSBD. Remember, DSBD as our department will get an allocation from Treasury. So part of that will come to SEFA for our business. And it will depend. I mean, it will vary year in and year out. The other one, we are a subsidiary, 100% owned subsidiary of the IDC. So some of the allocation will come via the IDC. So I hope that's what you're asking, Rick. But if not, I'll just leave my email address here. I can just drop me an email. I'm sure you can take it offline.
There's some more. There was a question there. I don't know if you're done with Mara's question about templates. Yes, you have. I think we should move that. Go ahead.
Are we pasting it into the text chat or I don't have a copy of the template. Don, people are asking if they can have where do they find the template, or they should put it that way. Can they download it from the SEFA website, or where do they find it?
Yes, it's there on our SEFA website. So if you go on our SEFA website, which is www.sefa.org.za, you click on what you offer, you go down to templates, you'll find it, common funding template.
.org.za.
Correct.
All right, there's the website. Perfect. Thank you. Hori says, Mr. Mashele, may you please explain the online application process from the submission of the application by small businesses to the actual approval of the application. Oh yeah, so what's the process, more or less, please?
Okay. So we have got an online application portal. So if you want to apply, we no longer use application forms. You go on our website, which is www.sefa.org.za. And in the top right corner, it says apply for funding. You click in there. So you will have to create a profile. So if you click in there, you'll have to register, create a profile. It's not a digitized application form, it's a pre-screening portal. So the portal will ask applicants about your business, details about your business. And the reason for that is that the intention is to link each application to the program that we have. Remember, we've got various programs, and the programs look for different things. So if you are responding to this quiz and portal, and then you link TRAP, for instance, then it will then say upload documents, and those documents will be in line with what TRAP is looking for. If you link up to another program, maybe the one for manufacturing, it will then say you have linked up to the manufacturing program, upload the certain documents. So if you upload all the documents, the system creates an application number. So once you register, it creates an inquiry number, still an inquiry. So the onus is on you to make sure that you upload all the relevant documents. Once you have uploaded the documents, it then creates an application number. Then once it's an application number, it interfaces with our internal system. Then it becomes now an application, which you can use to follow up with SEFA. You've applied, you've got an application number, and then it goes through our regional offices, and then the regional offices will contact the applicant and do a proper due diligence, go out to see the business. Once the due diligence is done and they're happy with what they're seeing, now you put together the credit submission. Credit submission, which they put together, and it goes to head office. No regional office will take a decision on an application. You know, it's still a centralized system where it needs to be presented to a credit committee. Credit committee takes a final decision. It gets approved. Once it's approved, then we start with the legal process where you sign legal contracts, and then it gets dispersed. I think that I guess the next question, how long does this take? You know.
There you go. Frequently asked questions.
Yeah, I can tell you why it takes forever. Yeah, our turnaround times are actually, yeah, it's one of our challenges. Normally, when we have got everything, and by everything I mean everything, we should take between 30 and 40 working days. You know, from application to approval. I'm not counting disbursement, because from disbursement you need to put together the contract. You need to meet certain conditions. Remember, most, if not all, the loans that we approve have got certain conditions. So you need to meet those conditions. If the conditions are not that complicated, again, it's not a long process, 2-3 weeks, it will be done. So there is an application to approval, which can be 30 to 40 working days. And then from approval to disbursement, depending on the conditions that you need to meet. Again, I can't put a number here, but on average, you could look for maybe another 2 weeks or so. So you can count the whole process. But there is a reality. With TRAP program, this program is very popular. You know, TRAP is very popular, such that the capacity within SEFA to process TRAP applications is a bit of a challenge. You know, so, and I'm glad we've got senior colleagues on the platform. I'm sure they've experienced this as well. So depending on an office or a province, certain provinces are much more busier than others. You know, a province where things are not that hectic, you might find that it's quicker to turn around applications. A province where you've got a lot of applications and a given capacity, you know, I can come in and say 30 to 40 working days. It might be a little bit more, depending on the capacity and the extent in which we are getting an influx of applications.
So we do have a few questions on TREP, including from Mashele Balo, who can unmute now and speak. Stephen is asking, is there a closing date for TREP, or is it ongoing? Is it rolling over? You can apply every time. Gerald is saying he wants to know if what is the percentages of TREP applications coming from SEDA directly, and then Mashele Balo can speak for herself. She's unmuted.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm a business advisor at SEDA. My experience is that we've got a lot of working clients that probably saw the TREP applications on your Facebook pages. So they go to SEFA, right? And then when they get to SEFA, they tell them that you need a business plan. But those are TREP clients, your spaza shops, your car washes. And then when they get here, they require a business plan for us. So in a way, when we tell them our SEDA processes, it's like we are standing in their way for that funding because of what SEFA told them when they get there. So now when Mr. Mashele is saying that they only need a company profile, it's you, like you guys are not singing the same song, because I've got a lot of list of clients that are walk-in that are from SEFA saying that you need a business plan. Go to SEDA, they can assist you with a business plan. And then it, you know, our in-house as well as the 3 months. So it's like we are standing in the way of them acquiring funds from SEDA, from SEFA. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually typing my email address if I can talk, and I'll put it on the chat, because this has to be practical. So whoever has got this kind of, particularly SEDA colleagues, I mean, we're one company, we're one portfolio. So that's my email address, colleagues. The other things that I do for my sales is to assist with TREP, particularly the integration with SEDA. So it's a surprise for me that, you know, we're saying that we need business plans. So I'm saying that let's just drop me an email outside of this, you know, this afternoon. You know, give me those specifics to say we cannot. I mean, if you can check now, you can go on our website, check on the TREP program, and you go down, there's a TREP criteria checklist. You go through that. You know, this not business plan that is required. It's actually a company profile. But I'm saying to the SEDA colleagues, that's my email address there, don@sefa.org.za. And I'm sure there's also one of gentlemen who asked about our, you know, the structure of how we funded. So that's my email address. So in terms of the first question, a closing date for TREP, no, there's no closing date. In fact, there is a lot of money under TREP that we can't even get out.
I was about to ask you. Okay, good.
No, that's too much money. We're under pressure to not to get it out. Getting out is the wrong way. But I'm saying that the budget is too much. The demand is there, but the issue will be, you know, most of the businesses don't meet the criteria, etc. But to answer your question, Chris, there's no closing date for it. I mean, a closing period for TREP.
Right.
So it's like in 2024, 2025, we can still go, or am I now exaggerating?
I don't know things I'm not going in a spaza shop. We'll never stop. So TREP is our it's our normal program. It will never come to an end. You know, because when you think of it, township and rural businesses are here to stay.
Yeah.
You know, so if in fact, if you run out of that money, you'll have a good problem. It's a nice problem to have, because you go back to government and say, well, if people we need more, government will always give us that money. So for now, really, there's just a lot of money. The budget is too much. It's there.
I have a question, just to go back to one last question around certain provinces. If you could give us a view of which provinces are not used up. So, I just think of the impact across the board of our country versus having pockets within the different provinces. So what are the provinces that there's opportunity and we're not making use of? Because I think as business practitioners, we are based across the country. So where could we be focusing on? So for example, Northern Cape, are you getting anything there? So if there isn't enough, then that's an opportunity for us to think, okay, whether it's IBASA, EPI, CEDA, let's start going in there and encouraging more. Let's start supporting so that the impact is broad-based and not just in little hubs. So that would be my one question. And also, as usual, the gender lens, how many male, female, and youth? Are the youth businesses again, or of TREP, or is there more older people? So that would be an interesting one as well, please. The demographics around that.
Yeah. What Chris didn't tell me is that this thing was gonna take an off-ramp from the common funding template to other things, but
oh, sorry, but no, yes, and I think it's because I think it gives us an opportunity to see that we don't all go in the same spot. You understand? We're missing out.
Yeah. No, I hear you very well. So I think if that is what I can say is that where are we overly congested? So like any lender, lending follows the economy in a particular province. So you've got your high GDP provinces that are all suspects: Gauteng, KZN, and the Western Cape. So there's saturation there, and so any other province outside of that, there are big opportunities because one of the things that when we do our reporting into the portfolio committee and other structures, we need to show that spread. You cannot be saying that we are heavily invested in Gauteng, KZN, and the Western Cape and just leave it at that. We need to be counter-cyclical as a development funding institution and go to those provinces where there is a need. So any other province outside of the three, there's a big need there. And also going into the rural and township areas of those provinces, there is a big need. So yeah, outside of the three suspects, I think we need to branch out into other provinces. The youth and women, we are not doing bad there. The challenge that we have, it's entrepreneurs with disabilities.
Okay.
There is a big challenge there. If as a practitioner you've got a solution on that, to say that we've got a big budget again, as SEFA, to support entrepreneurs with disabilities. Are we meeting that target? If there's one target that we don't meet year in and year out, are entrepreneurs with disabilities. So we struggle there. We've done most of the things we're still doing, but if there could be someone who's saying that I've got a solution, again, that's my email address. It's a partnership that we'd like to have. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Christoph, can you copy and paste the email address? Or I think he sent it to an individual. Colleagues, please copy and paste.
Oh, did I?
Maybe, I don't know. I can't see it. Derek, I see you've put on your video. I have a feeling that's your prompt to say I want to share something.
No, I think I got a request to share, but otherwise I'm happy. I'm impressed and I'm happy with Don Mashele. You can see it at that. And yeah, for me, I think, yeah, for me, it's just full of excitement that we had another successful day. And in terms of questions, I believe that it's something that most questions were asked by our members and the audience, and we really appreciate the engagement. The level of engagement was very good, and we're looking forward to engaging further in terms of different topics, but mainly on the things that are very important for us and for everybody and for the ecosystem at the same time. Yeah, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Derek. Sisbongi, there's a question here for you as well, just to prepare you for that. And it says, again, how does small business become a CEDA client? So you see, Putin can drink some water now and relax a little bit.
So
you can unmute there, Sisbongi.
Don to Rebecca around.
Sorry?
There's still an important question for Don too, which I.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving him a rest a little bit. Let's shift it up.
But he complained that we're not giving warning to.
Okay, to answer that question, Tobeka, CEDA has got a network. It's got branches across the country. So for you to become a CEDA client, you must contact the nearest branch to where you live and make an appointment to see the business advisor. And then, you know, the rest will follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sisbongi. Christoph, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You said something?
No, in fact, Don, we'll give you a warning so you can think through the answers before we put on the microphone for you. But there are three things that would make this webinar a complete webinar. The one is that you put a request around comments on the template. And I think our audience, the 50-odd people in the room, can take that request seriously, because we are out there working with small businesses. So we've pasted the link to the SEFA website, and we also pasted the actual template into the text chat. If there's anyone that wants to download that and have a look, and Don invited comments for improvement. So, I mean, that is absolutely great. Thank you very much for reaching out to the guys there out in the field, Don. But there are two fields of questions still remaining. The one is around cooperative financial institutions and SEFA's take on working with CFIs from Chepiso and Masemele. Questions on that. And then there's also a question about credit record, and if someone has got a bad credit record, how we can help them in becoming fundable or getting into a position where they have fundable businesses. So I think those are two key outstanding topics for us to maybe just cover quickly. Maybe we can't do it comprehensively, but maybe if you can just give SEFA's take on those two issues, Don, that would be great.
Okay, no, thanks, Chris. Quickly, yes, the corporate financial institutions, we do work with them through our wholesale model. We wholesale unit. So if someone, remember, as SEFA, what we do, we provide funding directly to SMMEs through our direct lending, but also work with what we call retail financial intermediaries. So these are companies that are in the business of providing some form of funding to SMMEs. So those ones, we assist them through our wholesale funding. So if there's anyone here who wants more information on that, because these are more complex kind of transactions, we're talking here about companies that will come to SEFA and say, we're looking for 100 million to on lend to small businesses. Again, my email address is there. I can just give us a high level executive summary of what you do, and then I can link you up with the wholesale colleagues. So we do that. We do assist those businesses. In terms of credit record or report, as it were. So if someone has got a court judgment, there's nothing we can do about it. You know, if you've got a court judgment, it has to be rescinded. But if you've got a default judgment, we can assist. Someone who's got a default judgment, we can assist them, provided they've made arrangements with creditors. So if there's a default judgment and someone has got creditors, people don't just default and walk away. You need to be a responsible person and be able to go back to the creditors and make some arrangements, come with proof that there are those arrangements, then we can assist. Someone on debt review, we cannot assist. Obviously, if you're under debt review, someone cannot go into more debt if you're already under debt review. So that is SEFA's position when it comes to those different credit scenarios.
Great, thank you very much. One quick, Jorge, should we bring Jorge in, Christoph, just to conclude there, please? And let's see what they have to share, because the hand is still up, and they have like 30 seconds. Over to you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Jorge.
Yeah, just that's the quick one. Eh? I just want to just this. I know it might be the suitable platform to ask this question, but is it possible that the application may take almost the whole year, the application process? But well, since I've applied in January, and now is hitting towards December, and then I believe that my application is still at the region of SEFA in Limpopo. So I just want clarity there, because I'm always keeping pushing, phoning week in, week out, reminding the person who is in charge with my application, and he keeps on saying, "I'll call you, I'll come back to you." Say, so it's very, very frustrating.
Okay, thank you, Jorge. I have a quick question. Why would Don will respond to you like you've just gone through the presentation right now, right? Can I give you homework after Don responds? It's like, just go back to your application process quickly and just see if there are any things missing to what he shared. I'm just asking, all right? Just in case, and it gives you an opportunity to up it a little bit. In case there's some things in the process that you put in there and you missed some info. But anyway, on that, over to you, Don.
Yeah, I think you have partly answered what I would have said, that just revisit that application, but with that two sides to a story all the time. So check that, and if you believe that you've got everything in terms of what we have said this morning, this afternoon, then we have got a unit at SEFA at head office that looks at customer complaints. I've just tapped in on the chart there the email address that you may want to use, helpline@sefa.org.za. Do copy me on that email, because I'm responsible for managing that unit as well. So I would like to go deeper. What are the facts? Because it's unlikely an application will take the whole year. But if someone has asked you things and you don't come back, it takes 6 months to come back. It might take the whole year. But we close an application, by the way, SEFA. After a certain time, if we say, okay, give us this information, we don't get it in 20 days, we don't keep a file open, we close it. So that's why I'm saying that send those complaints there, copy me, and then we'll just get to the bottom of it.
Okay, thank you, Don. It seems like you've already done that, lodged the complaint. Feel free to forward those emails and then include Don in it. The nice things that we have him here, he's here listening, he shared his email. I know his email is going to be spammed, but I think he's prepared. Be patient with him. I'll speak on his behalf, even though he might have not asked me to do so. Of course, he only has the same 2 hands we all have and the 10 fingers. And it seems like he's running a lot of departments. Power to you, Budi. So let's see. So Jorge forwarded to Don all that info, and also just go back to your application. And I'm not saying it in a rude way, but it's just now it gives you an opportunity to double check, and you've heard it directly from the horse's mouth what they look at even more. On that note, Christoph, did you pick anything up as we conclude? I'm so happy we managed to have this conversation.
I just want to thank Don sincerely. It's not often that we can get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and the practical way of dealing with the template. I think if we as practitioners can guide our small business customers in using that it will help immensely. And for fielding the questions that we had, so these are the opportunities that we as practitioners have to empower ourselves to, so that we can provide good services to our small business clients. And in that regard, I want to repeat the challenge to us in the room, if you do download, if you have a look at the template and there are things that you notice that could improve, we've got Don's email there, please forward that. And then Tobeka, there were questions around the access to the
Link.
recordings.
I'll set that up now.
Yeah, there it is, bit.ly/EPI in capitals video will take you to the EPI's channel. Perhaps Rashida or Tobeka, if you can copy it over for us in the text chat, people can click on that to also see past recordings. And then, of course, it goes onto the IBASA website as well, which is ibasa.org.za. And just to complete the picture in terms of the partners, of course, we know where to find CEDA at ceda.org.za.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Christoph. And yes, I mean, one last question, Don. How's our debt collection? How many people actually pay back?
That was the question. I'm glad you did. Not a lot. Our impairments, it's shocking. Our impairments, the last time we checked, sitting at about, 40% or so. So which means if you get a rand out there, you can't get back 40% of it. On trap is worse. Which then means, and it's not a bad thing that we're doing, giving people a chance to say, you have got this dream, this proposal, here is money, go out and do what you have to do. So the impairments are very, very high, which is a bit worrying. Yeah, but that's that. You asked the question, Tomika, so that's your answer.
Well, thanks to Anonymous. Anonymous asked that question and they felt that they wanted to be anonymous. Well,
yeah. But check the annual report, because what I'm sharing here is the annual report. We've got annual reports dating back 5 years or so. Check the impairment rate and what it's saying that we need to be responsible. The practitioners, the people we assist, they have to pay back, because the same money that we get recycled help the next person. If we don't get that, we can grow the country.
Thank you very much. Khori, I am sorry we didn't get through to answering all your questions 100%, but I hope at least we got 50%. It's better than the pass mark. But anyway, Sisbongi, just give you a moment, as well as Derek, to kind of just give us your final words or anything. And I have already copied and pasted your websites and your links in the chat. Over to you, Sisbongi.
Okay, thank you, Tobeka, and thank you, colleagues, for the engagement, and to our presenter as well, Don Mashele, my colleague. Thank you very much. Just one more thing from CEDA. We have developed the learning material, and it is around the very same topic that we are discussing today. So we will continue building the capacity of those that are assisting small enterprises. And it is our wish to see the increase of businesses approved for funding. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sisbongi. Derek, over to you.
Thank you very much, Thobeka, and thank you for the wonderful time and also your way of doing things. Always you are holding the fort. And thanks to Christoph, and thanks to Sisbongi and to Bonnie, SEDA, SEFA also, and also EPI. But also thanks to Mr. Mashele. You can see Litatana Sunene for your time, and it was very engaging, and we are happy. And to all our audience and our members and our stakeholders, thank you very much for joining us. And we are hoping to see you in the next webinars that we're going to have. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Derek. Christoph, any last words?
I'm good. Thank you very much. By the way, if there's someone in the room that's got a need for a specific topic that we should be covering in these events, we are open for you to contact us and to let us know about that. It's just the email away. We'll put the email in the text chat just now, but let us know if there's something that you would like us to cover specifically in the CPD events.
Yes, yes. Please do not be shy. We're here for you. So it's not about us telling you, but you are knowing the info directly. Thank you very much, Christoph. So we'll give you a few minutes to type in the chat what you think some topics we could cover. Type away. And as usual, let's all do a reaction for our speaker with the claps or the heart, sending him some love. That'll be great. And there we go. Thank you very much, everybody. As you go, that's how we are grateful to you, Don Mashele, for your time and your insight, and also just giving us access to your email. And let's all be kind to him in our emails, guys, because as you can see, he's a human being. He also has green blood like you and I. With some red in there as well. And then on that note, all of you take care of yourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, and every other way, because we just have this one body that's carrying all ourselves. And take care of yourself. Have a good day. Have a good week. And see you next month. Take care. Thank you. And share any topic you would like us to discuss in the chat. Feel free to do so. Okay, great. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's see, nothing else is coming up yet. I'm leaving on my video a little bit, Chris, just to encourage those who are still maybe typing a topic, just in case. Thank you all for your kind words. If you have an idea and you don't have time, to put up your hand and then we'll bring you in to quickly just say it if you're having a hard time typing potential topic. Some of you might not have time to send an email or feel, oh, I'm lazy, but here's an opportunity to let us know what topic you would like us to cover. Okay, so Stefan says, okay, Khori's hand is up. Maybe we can bring him in, Christoph. So we have sales process and customer management. Okay, Stephen. So that's a topic you would like us to